Gilgit-Baltistan, undermined by governance. This opinion examines how constitutional neglect and administrative overreach have eroded Gilgit-Baltistan's self-rule. The government of Pakistan has promoted Gilgit-Baltistan as a premier adventure tourism destination, showcasing its breathtaking landscapes and towering peaks. This opening sentence serves as the thesis statement by describing how GB is marketed for tourism despite its constitutional exclusion. Ironically, GB is constitutionally not part of the country. Ironically is an adverb used to signal a contradiction between appearance and reality. This sentence means that despite its promotion, Gilgit-Baltistan lacks formal constitutional status in Pakistan. Liberated by its people, in 1947, it opted for Pakistan. This sentence means that although GB's people chose to join Pakistan in 1947, it did so voluntarily. Sadly, despite assuming de facto control, Pakistan has held back from according full constitutional status to GB, citing the unresolved implementation of UN resolutions on Kashmir to which GB has been yoked. De facto control means practical, though not legally formal authority. According full constitutional status means granting complete legal recognition as a part of the state. Yoked is a metaphor meaning tied or linked in an undesirable manner. This sentence means that although Pakistan effectively governs GB, it denies it formal constitutional inclusion by blaming unresolved Kashmir issues. As a result, GB continues to be governed through presidential decrees, unaccompanied by parliamentary representation. This sentence means that Gilgit-Baltistan is managed by executive orders without input from an elected legislature. This fragile arrangement, lacking moral and legal legitimacy, is upheld through a local elected assembly with circumscribed powers, which can be unilaterally upended by the Prime Minister, who remains unaccountable to the region's people. Fragile arrangement is a phrase suggesting an unstable or unsustainable system. Circumscribed powers means limited authority. Unilaterally upended is a phrasal verb, meaning can be overthrown or changed by one party alone. This sentence means that GB's governance, though provided by a local assembly, is inherently insecure because the Prime Minister can override it at will. To prop up this artificial governance structure, national political parties dominate the political landscape through local chapters, essentially controlling the regional leadership. Prop up is a phrasal verb meaning to support or sustain. Artificial governance structure implies a system imposed from above rather than naturally evolved. This sentence means that major parties manipulate local politics to maintain control over GB's leadership. The primary role of these local leaders is to suppress growing discontent against a system that functions as a form of colonial rule, offering only an illusion of self-governance. Suppress means to forcibly put an end to or restrain. Illusion of self-governance is a phrase meaning a false appearance of local autonomy. This sentence means that local leaders mainly work to stifle dissent, masking the reality of imposed control. Local governments, LG, are manipulated to maintain the status quo, resorting to short-sighted and irresponsible decisions, which lead to an ineffective administrative structure. Status quo means the existing state of affairs. Short-sighted is an idiom meaning lacking long-term vision. This sentence means that local administrations are deliberately misused to keep things unchanged, resulting in poor governance. This governance model has drained resources without delivering meaningful development, thus subjecting the people to compromised healthcare, education, and social services. This sentence means that the current system wastes resources and fails to provide essential public services. The result is a bureaucratic white elephant, which is expensive to maintain and ineffective in addressing people's true needs. White elephant is an idiomatic expression referring to a burdensome, costly asset that offers little benefit. This sentence means that the governance structure is both wasteful and unproductive. Since the enactment of the 2009 Governance Order, successive political governments have prioritized job creation for political workers over establishing a robust administrative structure accountable to an elected assembly. This sentence means that, since 2009, governments have focused on rewarding political allies rather than building effective governance. The easiest way to achieve this has been to carve out new revenue districts formed irresponsibly, leading to bureaucratic expansion. Carve out is a phrasal verb meaning to create or designate by division. This sentence means that new administrative districts have been irresponsibly created to benefit political interests, expanding bureaucracy. Now numbering 10, the new districts have led to a governance crisis in a region of just 1.8 million. This sentence means that the creation of 10 districts in a small population area has resulted in administrative overload and inefficiency. Each district now requires a deputy commissioner, district police officer, sessions judge, and heads of various line departments, despite some districts having fewer than 100,000 residents. This sentence means that the administrative requirements per district are excessive relative to the population size. In policing, 2 districts alone have over 10 police stations, while 4 have fewer than 5. This sentence means that there is a stark imbalance in police infrastructure among the districts. The justification for these districts' vast geography and a difficult terrain is flawed, as the administrative structure has grown disproportionately compared to local needs. Flawed means defective or unsound. This sentence means that citing geography and terrain does not justify the disproportionate expansion of bureaucracy. Alarmingly, ahead of the next local assembly elections, plans are underway to create 4 more districts to be funded by diverting the development budget and depriving the region of essential projects. This sentence means that further bureaucratic expansion is planned at the expense of critical development funding. The planned wasteful expenditure on additional districts must be rolled back. This sentence serves as a policy recommendation, urging a halt to further unnecessary bureaucratic spending. The creation of these small districts has had serious consequences. Underutilized deputy commissioners, assuming municipal functions, thus obstructing the evolution of an effective LG system, the direct involvement of district heads in health, education, minerals, etc., weakening professional oversight and efficient service delivery, junior-level officers interfering in specialized fields, leading to detrimental decisions, unregulated hotel expansion causing pollution, with little enforcement of regulations by a specialized institution, a police force increasingly assuming judicial functions and intervening in civil disputes beyond its mandate, thus undermining the judicial system. Diversion of budgetary resources to sustain a non-productive administrative structure has led to resource constraints, resulting in power shortages and water scarcity, which is exacerbated by unplanned tourism. The absence of town planning has resulted in the unchecked expansion of informal settlements, turning pristine valleys into overcrowded slums. Underutilized means not used to full capacity. Non-productive means not yielding productive outcomes. This long sentence means that the creation of excessive districts has led to multiple systemic failures across governance, infrastructure, and service delivery, worsening everyday life. But the most troubling outcome has been the neglect of fundamental issues by the local political leadership. This sentence means that beyond administrative inefficiencies, the leadership has ignored core constitutional and developmental issues. With a few honorable exceptions, most leaders have paid little attention to resolving the constitutional status of the region, leaving it in a state of political limbo. Political limbo is a metaphor meaning a state of uncertainty or suspended progress. This sentence means that the failure to address constitutional status has left GB in unresolved uncertainty. This breeds discontent and risks deepening resentment. This sentence means that neglect leads to public frustration and escalating anger. People expect their leaders to take an active and serious role in addressing these concerns. This sentence means that citizens demand proactive governance and resolution of these issues. Key unresolved demands include rehabilitation for Chilis residents affected by water storage for the Diamerbasha Dam, completion of hydropower projects stalled due to funding shortages, thus delaying energy supply. The process of granting lease for mineral resources must be made fair and transparent and safeguard local interests. For legal protection of land ownership, legislation is required to formally recognize and protect these rights of local communities. GB should be given a fair share in CPEC projects instead. Its fragile environment has been exposed to pollution caused by heavy traffic. This sentence means that there are multiple specific demands from the people of GB for fair treatment, proper resource management, and environmental protection. Addressing these pressing issues within the LG ambit is essential to ensuring the region's stability and securing its future. This sentence means that resolving local governance issues is crucial for GB's long-term stability. The planned wasteful expenditure on additional districts must be rolled back and redirected towards development projects that alleviate the suffering of people, many of whom, despite living along a riverbank, cannot easily access drinking water. This sentence means that instead of expanding bureaucracy, funds should be used for critical development, such as improving water access. Priority should be given to improving health and education services rather than expanding an already bloated administrative structure. This sentence means that investment in public services should take precedence over further bureaucratic growth. The region's leaders must also take up the critical matter of constitutional representation resolutely. This sentence means that local leaders need to demand formal political rights and representation. Continued denial of representation in Parliament and the federal government remains a key factor underpinning the region's neglect and the arbitrary decisions imposed upon it. This sentence means that without parliamentary representation, GB suffers from neglect and arbitrary governance. The creation of 4 more districts may serve short-term political interests, but the long-term consequences will be disastrous. This sentence means that further bureaucratic expansion will harm the region in the long run, despite any immediate political gains. The federal government must course correct, not only for regional stability, but for the nation's broader interests. Course correct is a phrasal verb meaning to change direction to achieve better results. This sentence means that Pakistan must change its policies to benefit both Gilgit-Baltistan and the country as a whole. This area holds immense strategic significance as the gateway to the flagship CPEC and the site of the Diamer-Basha Dam, a critical project for ensuring water security. This sentence means that GB is crucial for major national projects and overall water security. Neglecting it can lead to not just local unrest, but also national insecurity and economic instability. This sentence means that ignoring GB's issues risks broader political and economic chaos. For over 7 decades, the people of this region, loyal citizens who proudly fly the Pakistani flag, even on the graves of their martyred sons who have died fighting for the country, have waited for their constitutional rights. Martyred is an adjective, meaning killed for a cause. This sentence means that the people of GB have long endured injustice and now demand their rights. Their patience is wearing thin, and the younger, educated generation is discontented with the status quo. This sentence means that public frustration is growing among all segments of society, especially the youth. The state must recognize the growing frustration and address their rightful demand for accession. Accession is a noun meaning the act of joining or obtaining membership. Here, full constitutional status. This sentence means that the government must respond to the people's demand for proper integration into Pakistan. The writer, a former IGP Sindh, belongs to Gilgit-Baltistan. Published in DAWN, March 24, 2025.